Yo, what is good people, it's wodzubeats here, and today I would like to talk about my favorite compressor. Essentially, this plugin that I'm going to show you in a minute isn't essentially a compressor, it's a channel strip. So it's like you took a channel from a mixer, like this one right here, and you put it in a plugin. So it has a compressor, EQ, gate, and some other features. The song that we are going to work on today is one of my instrumentals I made somewhere in 2023. It's one of those wave funk kind of instrumentals. It's just mixed, any mastering whatsoever. And today I'm talking about the compression. So I'm not going to go through the whole mastering chain, but just the compression. And for compression, I always use this thing. The plugin that lands in my mastering chain before saturation, limiter, and everything is always the Solid State Logic EV2 emulation from Waves. There are also different versions of those channel strips, which is the G channel and the E channel, but EV2 is the newest one, and that's mostly why I'm using it. I was also comparing those, and the sound of EV2 seems the clearest, the richest. I just simply like it. Here is the part that we are going to be focused on today, which is the compressor. As you can see, only 3 knobs and 1 switch, and that's it. So why is it so powerful? This plugin resembles an old SSL 4000 console. And those compressors that have been mounted in those consoles, the design itself was pretty simple but pretty powerful. They just sounded good, they sounded dynamic, they sounded right in a lot of applications. And by application is just simply to compress the whole signal, the whole master signal that I'm getting from my mix. You can also use a different type of compressor for this, but I just like to stay with the EV channel compressor. Let's turn off the gate and let's focus on the compressor. And let's start with the ratio. I always like to start with ratio at around 3 to 4. So I try to leave it at 3.5. There's not that huge of a difference. I start with the release of 0.15 seconds, so it's pretty fast. Remember that we are using it as a mastering compressor right now, and the attack stays on this regular position rather than fast attack. That's because I don't want the compressor to compress the peaks that much. I just like to get a little bit of this fatness that a compressor can offer. So right now, with those basic settings, ratio 3.5, release 0.15 seconds, I'm going to lower the threshold so it starts compressing. We'll see it right here. I'm going to compress it like at around -6, -10 dB peak. So it's going to get quite a bit of compression. Let's go. Alright, as you can see, and hopefully as you can hear if you are listening on headphones or studio monitors, compression started getting involved like pretty quickly. When it was getting closer to -10, it was a little bit too much, but I would try some lower ratios, like more 3 or 2.5, somewhere like that. Sounds alright for now. And now I'm going to switch this attack to fast attack, and what you will notice is that the kick isn't as present as it was before. That's because when the attack is set to fast, the compressor works both on the peaks and all the other parts of the signal, so the kicks aren't as punchy as they were before. I don't like to compress the audio so much that it loses the punch. For me, the compression isn't really about that. Maybe on a bass guitar or on vocals, sometimes depends on the type of the signal I'm getting. But for mastering, I always leave it like that. All right, let's try to play with the release. I will go lower, so faster, and I will go higher. I will just hear and try to find the best value. For me, it sounds the best at around 0.7 seconds, so it's not so long, not so short, but definitely not super fast, but still less than a second, so that's alright. That was the compressor. And now, as this is a plugin that resembles a real analog device, we can push it to its edge and see the compressor started working much harder because we've got it more signal. That's why I lowered the threshold a bit. Right now I'd like to try to add a little bit more of this low end punch for the kick and the bass, because I would like it to be more present in the mix. So I'm going to set this low shelf filter at around 50 Hz and I'm going to boost it somehow. There's a lot of compression going on here, and I love it. I like the analog kind of overdrive that's adding this kind of grit and warmth to it. This is not the setting I would use on a commercial project that I was doing for a client, but for this type of dirty music like funk, I really like to add something like that. Let's also add a little bit of this lower mid punch to the snare with this green EQ right here. Now I will turn off the plugin to see what it sounded like before and after, so we will do a comparison. Definitely adding a lot of value and warmth and volume, especially because we've used a lot of gain in this situation. and I really like the results. And for those of you who are wondering why am I clipping on this channel and if it's causing any distortion inside the DAW, it's not causing any distortion. Let's bring the mixer from the top. Here's my mixer, here is our track, and here is the master track. So in digital audio, you can't really clip a single channel like this. The only clipping that can occur is on the master channel. So if I play it right now, it won't hit like the 0 dB right here. And there is no clipping in result. But if we like added a lot of gain here, it will start clipping in a really unpleasant way. As you could hear, this wasn't the result that anyone would like in their song. And that's the difference between the digital clipping and analog clipping. I learned it the hard way when I got the mixing console, and I just started like adding a lot of gain on a single channel, and I was getting this really nice, crunchy, warm tone. But before that, I was always mixing and mastering in a box, so I couldn't really like try those analog ways. And I wasn't really interested in analog plugins either, because they didn't really resemble any bigger value than digital sort of plugins like Isotope for me. But now, as I got into this analog world, I'm like more old school, let's say. I think the old school way, like I think about the signal, I think about the gains, about clipping, about every single thing in a signal path. And that's really good, because I discovered I didn't discover like anything big, but I made myself realize that everything we do inside the DAW resembles an analog console. A DAW is basically a big digital console inside our computer, but it behaves in a little different way. For example, with the digital clipping that we don't like. I think that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. More videos about analog gear and analog like workflows are coming in the upcoming weeks. My name is Dominik. You've been watching Wodzu Beats, and keep the good vibes alive.